Hi everyone, it's Eero here, and in this video we're going to take a look at the exercise muscle up. And I want to specifically kind of give some advices on how you can start to progress towards it. It's quite a challenging exercise, to be honest. It takes a lot from your upper body for your wrists, elbows, shoulders. Your core needs to work in order to do it. And you need to be able to pull and push in the same exercise. So muscle up used to be one of my favorite exercises. I don't know, it felt really good doing it. I think it was because, like I explained, you have to use so many muscles in order to do it. And I think I made really good gains with it, strength-wise, even size-wise, developed so many areas in the body. So I really liked it and I practiced it a lot. I even started adding a lot of weights to it and wanted to progress in it. But lately I really haven't practiced muscle up much at all, and the reason was that there were so many other things that I needed to practice and get good at, and the muscle up just didn't feel like it was a priority anymore. So the muscle up can take a lot of preparation and training before you can actually get it, because just doing basically dips and pull-ups may not be nearly enough in order to get it, because there's the transition phase and you need to master, for example, the false grip. So I have made a complete guide on how to get your first muscle up, and I put the link in the description. It's free and it contains basically how you can develop the prerequisite strength and also the mobility in the rotator cuff, elbows, the false grip. All is in that one guide and you can check it there. But also I'm gonna go through a lot of those things in this video, as well as some other stuff that I've learned on the way, basically. The guide has been out already quite a long. I've received a lot of good feedback from it. People have acquired their first muscle up following those instructions. I personally use those drills to practice the muscle up. So it really has kind of like everything that you need to get it. So obviously you need to be able to do a pull-up, right? Then we have the transition phase. So you need to be able to basically hunch yourself over the rings, or maybe you do it in a bar. And after that you need to be able to do a dip in order to press yourself up. So obviously you need to have strength to do a few pull-ups, and then you need to be able to do a few dips. But then probably the most challenging part, of course, is that transition between those two phases, because there are many people who can do dips, a lot of dips, a lot of pull-ups. I used to know this guy who did like 30 pull-ups maybe, and he did dips like crazy. He couldn't do one single muscle up, and a lot of that has to do with the transition phase. It takes so much mobility from your elbow. There's a lot of pressure on this area as well. So, and also, of course, there's a bit of internal rotation as well, especially in the rings. If you do a wider muscle up, you need to have a crazy strength in the rotator cuff in order to stabilize your shoulder and help to press yourself over that bar or over the ring. So the first thing is you practice your dips, you practice your pull-ups, but then in order to prepare for the transition phase, you need to start basically pull higher. You need to start to do pull-ups, chin-ups, where you pull as high as you can. And it's good to keep a little pause at the end where you pull yourself. Then you can start to develop the false grip strength. So this you can actually, for example, I made the video which was the forearm and wrist strengthening. That these forearm curls, different type of forearm curls, are very good for strengthening or preparing for the false grip. But you need to have practice the actual false grip. So that happens, of course. You can, for example, go use the rings and be like in an inverted row position where you just hold the false grip with straight arms. From there you can progress on holding, hanging from the rings and holding the false grip. And after you can hold that false grip, you can start to do the pull-ups with the false grip. So you hold it and then you pull, right? I also suggest that you start to practice that hollow body pulling. So you squeeze your abdominals so that your body is not arched, because when you are there and you have to hunch over the bar, you need to also have a quite good strength in the abdominals, and at least it helps incredibly much when you squeeze yourself from the abs. So the start for the transition phase was being able to pull higher, keeping the false grip, and then hunching with the abdominals. But then we go to this basically elbow and the rotator cuff or the shoulders, right? So if I do a muscle up where I keep my elbows very tucked, it requires much more from here. If I do a wider, then the role of the elbow is diminished quite a lot, but instead I need to have a lot more strength in the internal rotation. So these are two variations, but usually this is much easier, of course, to pull the elbows in. So when you pull the elbow in, there's plenty of tension here, and you need to kind of prepare the elbow joint. For example, in the book I show, you can just start by stretching it like this way. You press it here, and after you get really pretty good at that, you can start to apply pressure. You can try to open this arm while you press it, and you can do like little pulsing repetitions, for example. But at the same time, it helps a lot to just do basic tricep exercises very strictly. I also have a video of that in this channel, and you can check that out. But at the same time, you need to have the rotational strength from your shoulders, and for that you can start to do, for example, different type of internal rotation exercises. So it's very simple, strengthening for the rotator cuff, for example, lying down, and then I just turn the shoulder inwards. To balance that out, you're probably gonna need to do also external rotation exercises. This not only will help you to get the muscle up, but also it keeps your shoulders much healthier, because the rotator cuff is often quite vulnerable to injuries. So once you got your false grip, you got your elbow mobility, internal rotation, basically you're now over the bar, and then you just need to do the dip to get yourself up there. But oftentimes it's too hard to kind of dip yourself up still, so you can start to progress it by doing specific exercises that prepare you for this. So for example, tiger bend push-ups are very good, because basically you get that stretch here, and then you press basically yourself up, so that is good. From there you can progress doing Russian dips, for example, and these can be done on parallel bars, but I personally did them on straight bar. I think that was extremely beneficial for that elbow mobility, also the internal rotation mobility. So I made this video, of course, for preparation for the very strict muscle up. The guide is as well. It shows you how you do the strict muscle up. But obviously in the start it's gonna be very hard, and I think it's okay if you use a bit of momentum, speed to pull yourself up, because that is of course also a muscle up. So basically what you can do that can make it a lot easier is when you start your pulling, you're a bit of arched, and then pump, because now you're loaded, and basically you can use the speed in order to get yourself over the bar or over the rings, basically. So I think this is completely acceptable in the starter if you want to practice the muscle up. And what you can also do is, after you've gotten up there, you can then do the lowering or the negative repetitions very slowly, and this way build more of the strength. So once you've gotten your first muscle up, there's of course a number of ways that you can start to progress with it. You can do more repetitions, you can start adding a bit of weight, you can do the archer muscle ups, you can do wide muscle ups, you can do L-sit muscle ups, you can always do a bit like slower muscle up, more strict for muscle ups. So there's a number of ways that you can do this exercise. But that was pretty much it. Let me know if you think this was useful. I mean, I know the muscle up is like sometimes think that it's very challenging exercise, but really I think everybody can acquire it if you just do the right progressions and work smart for it. Take care of your mobility and the health so that you don't get hurt in the process. And also, of course, remember to check the guide. Once again, the link is in the description. But that's it. I'll see you soon. Take care.